Hey, this is Seagrove, and I am back with Stéfane Ivanoff, the man with the plan. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then we will talk about your obvious recent accomplishments.
Yes. All right. So thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Stéfane. I'm from Paris, France. I'm 28. I've been playing the TCG for 9 years, and you may know me as the winner of NAIC for the second time in a row. So I guess that's my biggest accomplishment to date, and
I
it will be
think
hard to top it, but we'll try.
I think that would be just about anybody's biggest accomplishment to date. Um, so you won the biggest and the third biggest Western event of all time, and you managed to do it with Zorark, which people were saying was not the best. How confident were you in Zorark going in, and how does it feel to know that you accomplished this again with the card?
Yeah. Um, yeah, I kind of always felt like Zorak was very good, obviously, even at the end of toward the end of the season, where some people were kind of having doubts about it. The thing about so I've been playing Zorak since for a long time, right? Okay, so I first played it sort of at EUIC last season, so that was December 2017. Um, so I mean. Uh, yeah, I guess which was such a real Zorak deck as we are used to, and then I took some time not playing it until finally, after all the European players were all playing like Zoro Rock and Zoro Pod, I was like, hey, I should try this. So I was League Challenge. I was like, let's try this Zoro Pod deck, and
Mm-hmm.
I won with it. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. I actually like trading cards. I mean, drawing cards with trade.
Yeah.
So. So then I kept doing well with it. And I won NAIC with it. I won the special event in Valencia with it.
Mm-hmm.
I got second place at OCIC with it. So when you play a card and have success with it for such a long time, you become really attached to it.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
I'm not gonna say yes or like my friend or anything, but it's still I feel a sort of attachment to this card. So I really wanted to see Zorak win one last time, and I think that deep down, even though there were other decks that could have been good, there's no other deck that I wanted to play as much as Zorak.
Right.
And yeah, I guess I also wanted to prove that it was good, even though other Zorak players, like even people like George Reclep, people like Pedro Torres, who had a lot of success with it, they were doubting the card towards the end of the season, and I felt it was very good. So I really kind of also wanted to prove it to them, There's a much of pride in there, I guess. Um, Pedro was saying to me on Twitter a few days before the event that he said, "Hey, Zork is still bad, sorry," and I was like, "You'll see if it's bad." So I guess
I saw that.
uh, that's solved. Yeah. Also about the dugong variant specifically, it was doing very well in Japan for a long time, right? I was looking at results, and even after Double Blaze came out, so that was the Japanese set with his art. Even after some other cards, but which we don't have yet, came out, Zoroark Dugong was still doing well in Japan.
Mm.
So it felt to me like this deck um, was strong. It wasn't just like some thing that is played one time and then we forget about it. It felt like it was really like the best way to play Zoroark at this moment, and but it was really like as good or better as many other decks. So I kind of wanted to to prove it as well, because yeah, I guess yeah, I kind of like basically I have a mathematical background, so I think a lot of when I have to choose a deck or something, I think a lot about theory, like why is it's not like direct mathematical formulas or anything, but it's a bit like this card should be good for so and so reason. There's a kind of logical underpinning. And I was like, well, given that this is doing well in Japan, given that Dulong is good against this deck, and that Zorak works against blah blah blah, I felt like logically the deck was supposed to be good, and when I played it, it was doing well with me. So yeah, that's
Awesome.
why I was confident about the deck. Obviously, if you asked me that on the morning of the tournament, I would have said, I'm not sure. I think it's good, but we'll see. But overall, yeah, I felt like it was a good choice.
Yeah, obviously it was. So couple questions. One is Tord tweeted something about like Limitless doesn't even know what they're playing yet. Just bought 4 copies of the deck, and then a lot of Europeans were playing this Zork with Naganadel and everything. Was this the deck he was talking about?
Yeah. So we didn't know it at the time, right? But the funny thing is that I actually tested a little bit with Pedro because he was we were in the same Airbnb at Columbus for one night
Mm-hmm.
before he went to the hotel with, I believe, the rest of Limitless,
Okay.
or some other players at least. So we kind of played games, and at the time he didn't know of Tord's secret deck yet,
Mm-hmm.
but we were playing, and he was trying out Tord's list from Shopping, where he was playing Zorak with Persian and with the whole Elm, Olivia,
Right.
high counts of Shamin. Oh, sorry, not Shamin. Didone and Tapulele.
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of the kind of engine that he played in the end, but without Nagadel GX. And we at the time we were also like the rest of us who were testing, we were thinking about adding Nagadel GX. So we had the ID independently of Tord.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I said we. Henry Brand had the ID independently of Tord,
Okay.
and we were trying this out. And we played some games with this what was basically like Pedro was playing, but with Nagadel GX. Pedro wasn't convinced at the time, I think. So yeah, basically what was funny is that I think Pedro saw us playing with basically a Zorak person Naganadel deck, and then he said, "Don't worry, I won't talk about your secret IDs to Tord or anything." And then he goes to Tord, and Tord is like, "Hey, here's the secret deck," and it's basically the same thing that we did,
Yeah.
except I guess more refined, but it was also this without Dugong. So, but to his credit, he kept the secret on both sides. He never
Nice.
said anything.
So how different were the decks?
Yeah, so well, the Limitless deck, they played so they didn't play Dugong, and instead they had like Zork, Naganadel, Persian GX, and they played Elm. They didn't play Lily. We tried it as well. But yeah, they didn't play Lily, they played Elm, they played Olivia to grab something like Zork GX
Yeah.
and Disney GX. And basically they just put a bunch of GX in play to the point that you basically have to knock out a GX, and then they can catwalk and find stuff. And with Naganadel GX, they can still do the Stinger
Right.
and then take free prizes on a tag team to win. So we actually tested something like this. Our list wasn't as good as theirs, but we did test something that looked a bit like this.
Mm-hmm.
And some of us liked it, but I wasn't convinced personally because I was losing to Malamar. I wasn't doing well against Zapdos Beasts. And, after some thinking and so on. And also the issue I had is that our bench kept being filled with, like, we often had like 2 Lele and 1 Deden on the bench or some stuff like this. So because we don't have traditional supporters like Cynthia or Lily or even Dede and Liza.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to so sometimes you just had to Lele for Olivia, so you could grab Zorak and Dedenne or something like that. So you were filling your bench, and in the end you didn't have a lot of space for Zorak and Persian, and especially not for Naganadel. So I'm not sure exactly. I haven't watched the games that's like Pedro's games on stream with the deck, so I'm not sure exactly how they managed to deal with this issue.
Mm-hmm.
But personally, I felt like I wasn't comfortable with this, and I preferred to play Lily. And I also felt like Dugong was necessary to beat some stuff like Zapdos and Malamar. So I went back to the Dugong variant, and I didn't look back.
Nice. So let me ask you about this. At the end of last year, we talked about you becoming a professional Pokemon player. And you tweeted something about being a semi-pro.
Mm.
Or maybe you mentioned that on the other YouTube video. I don't remember. Why do you say semi-pro? And what has that journey been like? And how, if at all, how does this NAIC win change things for that?
Yeah. Well, Yeah. So this is a bit more personal, but I can
Right.
go into it.
If you don't want to,
Uh,
that's fine.
no, no, it's fine. It's
Okay.
fine. Don't worry. I told you I was fine. At the end of last season, when NAIC, I was oh, super happy for a bunch of reasons, obviously. But one part of it was that I had been like from a like professional perspective, in my I wasn't very happy with what I was doing. I was a teacher in high school, but it wasn't going very well for various reasons, and I was a bit worried about what I was doing with my life, whether I wanted to continue this with not many prospects for the future, if I wanted to do something else, but I didn't know what, and I was feeling very lost. And doing well at Pokemon, at least, I felt like, wait, at least I'm actually doing well. And I watched the videos you made about the interviews we did with a few players who went pro,
Mm-hmm.
and after it's at first it felt impossible, but then after when an AIC was like, wait, actually, this is something I could do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had a few friends who encouraged me in that path. uh, my therapist actually also said that she was like, hey, have you considered doing this professionally? And I was like, actually, I have. And she was helping me with this, and you
That's
also
awesome.
yourself gave me some advice as well.
Yeah.
So I decided to try it to see what happens at least for 1 year. I was thinking, yeah, if I have, I can do, like, financially it's possible for me to to do it for 1 year. I have money saved in my account and everything, so I could like take the hit if it even if it went bad.
Right.
And I felt like if I didn't use this opportunity, I was gonna regret it all for the rest
Right.
of my life. I was thinking that I needed to that I yeah, I had to take the chance. And also so I decided to quit my job as a teacher. It was also partly motivated by the fact that the first national championship was going to be in Brazil, so and I really wanted to go there and
Cool.
to I just won the biggest event of at the time. It was
Right.
the biggest event of all time, so I was like, I'm not gonna I can't miss the next international. So yeah, so I decided to quit at the beginning of the year, and focus on Pokemon. Also, I had some coaching requests. I was writing articles for PokeBeach at that point. I had joined a team, so I had all these things that also helped me make the decision. And I also wasn't. The reason why I say semi-professional and not professional is because I'm not. I also have like I earn money still doing some education related stuff,
Okay. Cool.
like private tutoring
Awesome.
and some stuff in the French education system, which is a bit hard to explain. But anyway, yeah, I have some. I also get some like regular money income with mathematics, education related stuff. So it's not like I'm only focusing on Pokemon, but I do a lot of it, obviously. I have to watch
Right.
a lot of videos. I watch streams. I read what everyone is talking about. Spend a lot of time testing decks because I need to have all this information
Right.
um, to write an article every week. And but also I think has helped me a lot um, to during the year. Like I feel like it's not a coincidence, but this was the year where I did the best, where I got I won an international championship and got second place at another one, where I consistently uh, like day two basically every event except two, where I actually reached my best finish limit with only top 32 results and stuff like this. I feel like I've obviously I was doing well before. I was doing very well at local events and so on, but I've never been that consistent. And I think that's because I spent a lot of my day-to-day life um, reading, watching, playing Pokemon, and really focusing
Right.
on it. And it's been really an amazing journey for me. I mean,
Awesome.
sometimes it's weird because sometimes you need to take a break. I come back from a tournament, I'm like, whew, that's too much Pokemon. I need to take a few days off,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like this. It's already a few days. It's been a few days after an AIC, but because there's a lot of playing, a lot of testing, of very intensive testing.
Right.
But usually it's just I come back from a regional, it's another country, and I need to take a flight, and it's a bit long and so on, and so I need like one day to
For sure.
to think to do a bit something else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't feel I haven't like burnt out or anything. I still want to play Pokemon. Just
Awesome.
sometimes, you need a little bit of
Absolutely.
time.
Do you did you and if again like we talked about before, if you ever don't want to answer something, you just say no. But did you make money this year overall?
All right, so this is actually a good question because I haven't been keeping very precise track of my income. I wanted to do this after
After Worlds?
NAIC, and I kind of
Oh.
actually my plan was to do it after NAIC, and I
Hmm.
kind of procrastinated on it.
Okay.
I feel like doing it after Worlds might actually be a better idea, but I'm still gonna do a sort of like look at
A
everything
quick estimate.
that I got. But overall, yeah, it was. I mean, I feel like overall it was good, but I did make top two at two internationals, which is not something you can count on or
Right.
anything. And for the future, it will also depend on like things like, for example, how many regionals we have in Europe. Because 2 years ago we had six regionals, but this season we only had four,
Yeah.
and for special events, but special events don't award money.
Right.
So, like when I look at some of the top American players, for example, if you look at Caleb Gittimer or Jimmy Pendarvis, like people who have won three or four regionals this year, they can have. Obviously, they need to maintain an amazing level of play, but they also have more opportunities to earn money with
Obviously, yeah.
Pokemon because there are
For sure.
these things. Um, on the bright side, though, I mean, recently, after winning this NISC, I have had more coaching requests, so I'm now coaching a bit more people.
Awesome.
I think I'm still doing less coaching uh, than American players, which I can understand because time zones and the language barrier. Even if I speak English decently, I understand that people will think about other American players. I mean,
Right.
if Americans are interested, they'll think about American players in priority. And yeah, there's not many French people to coach right now. Um, but yeah, had some opportunities there, and also recently, I did content for the official Pokemon website.
Right.
Before NASC, they had these new power rankings. I don't know yet if this will carry on for Worlds, if there's going to be something similar next year or whatever. But I hope there is, and I mean, I would love to have the opportunity to keep doing content for them. So
Right.
yeah, I'm feeling optimistic at least about at least the near future. I'm like,
Awesome.
well, this
So
year
you're
went
doing it
well.
again?
Yeah, at least for one more year.
Awesome. One more year every year.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe I don't
really
know. I just I don't want to make right now. I don't want to make
right.
long term plans. I don't know what I'm gonna be like in 3 years, in 5 years,
Right.
maybe. It feels like a lot of players at some point they stop playing Pokemon. Not all of them, but there's a lot of people who were very invested, and then they're like,
Right.
well, this year I'm gonna focus on something else. Sometimes it's studies, sometimes it's well, people getting married and stuff,
Right.
and people, or just Pokemon doesn't appeal to them for some reasons. It's also happens. So
Yep.
I don't know what's the rest of my life gonna be next, but I'm happy with just taking it like not like living in the present and yeah, saying, well, I don't know what it's going to be like in 3 years, but at least next year I'm doing the same, and we'll
Awesome.
see
Well,
how it goes.
congratulations. I'm really happy for you and proud that you're able
Yeah,
to accomplish that. It's super cool.
thank you.
So you played a lot of games and you've talked through a lot of them with some other content creators. Why don't you give us the highlights of the tournament for you? Um,
Yeah.
Either
So
games, you can do entire rounds if you'd like.
I'm gonna try to go a bit to do that a bit faster because there are some rounds where I don't remember everything
Sure.
and so on. Um, all right, so I guess the first big highlight was round five. I was at 301. I was playing against Rusty Lizard with Great Inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And I just a lot against this because That was Bert's deck, so we played lots of games, and I had the deck built as well because I was considering playing it. So we did a lot of testing, but we tested against a list which was based on what Bert was playing, which played both Custom Catcher and Mixed Herbs. And I actually didn't play against a list without Mixed Herbs. So the plan was, usually you try to go for Stinger.
Right.
You hit Roshi's for like 120 or 150. You Stinger GX, and then you hit it again to knock it out.
Right.
And you take 3 prizes and you win. And you try to judge at the same time, so so it's harder for them to set up another attacker if you take a first knockout, or to find the mixed herbs, the double mixed herbs, if they need to heal or stuff like this. And like the thing is that I was basically I got scared. I was like, wait, I cannot judge him right now. I'm afraid that he's gonna heal. And I was like, is he playing mixed herbs? I'm not sure. And I think it was because I had played against so many decks with mixed herbs in testing. I felt like the risk he was playing it was too high, and so I decided just to take a knockout and basically play without Stinger. I felt like, okay, it's not that likely that he gets another attacker this turn, so I should be able to win even without Stinger. And then maybe I actually had the judge. Maybe I judged him and he top decked out of the judge. I'm not sure. Anyway, he actually ended up having the attacker, building up another attacker, and he won. And when I think back about it, I was like, I should have known he wasn't playing mixed herbs, because he was playing acrobatic, and you don't have space for acrobatic if you play Custom Catcher and mixed herbs. There's no way you can play multiple acrobatics. So I should have I had assumed he wasn't playing it. I mean, I also felt like if he wasn't playing mixed herbs, I would probably be able to win games 2 and 3. So I was like, okay, I'm fine assuming he plays them, and if I lose because he didn't play them, I should win games 2 and 3. Except that game 2 went well, and game 3 I had a bad start and had a good one or something, and he won. So I guess this is the round where I was too cautious, too afraid based on my experience in testing. Didn't actually adapt to what was actually in front of me. That's what I lost. Then there was round 8 was streamed, so I guess I remember this a bit better because I actually watched the game afterwards, not in its entirety, but just to check a few things. So that was against Chris Yekala. He was playing Spiritomb and Brilliant with some other stuff, and it was a bit weird because I didn't know what he was playing. I look at the pairings. I asked Rahul, who was next to me. I was like, "Hey, do you know what he's playing?" And he tells me Honcho GX, and I'm like, well, I don't want to face this. But it turned out it was only a 1/1 line of Honcho GX without Duskstone, so it's definitely winnable. Honcho GX did win him a game though, because he got him turn 2, and it's very hard when you don't have energy on the board already, because you need to Guzma something else, then at the CE, then you need to re-Guzma the Honchkrow to attack it. And Honchkrow actually deals some damage and can discard cards from your hand, so it's annoying. But yeah, I won game 1 thanks to a landmark, and in game 3, his Mew was prized, so I won with Dugong in the end, so that was nice. So that's also exciting because at this point I was 6-1-1, so I was in day 2. Round 9, I played against a mirror match, well, sort of mirror match. He played Zoar, Dugong, but he also had Slow King, I believe. And yeah, it was a bit weird because we went first. I had a bad start, so I was like, hey, I'm probably gonna lose this game 1. But somehow I managed to come back. I think that he benched something. Benched something that wasn't useful. I think he benched Mew when there was little chance of me attacking with Dugong, or maybe attacking with Dugong wouldn't have helped me that much. So that took a spot on his bench, and I prevented him from ever getting Persian GX out, which is honestly a big key of in this matchup. So, but in the end I was like, wait, actually I'm winning this. He cannot take a knockout next turn, and then I have Persian to take the as 2 prizes, and I won. So I was like, wait, whoa. I'm glad. I was glad because I felt like I've always had a bit of trouble playing the Zorak mirror matches since I've been playing Zorak. Like I feel like every time I win is because of luck. Like my opponent drew dead or something, or like I don't know. I feel like I never played perfectly,
Yeah.
and often I make like small mistakes that are bad for me. So I was happy that I feel like I played it the right way. But game one, and then game two, he actually had the bad start this time. He had to did change on the first turn, and I think he discarded like Kuzma, Isola, Palpad, maybe even two Kuzma. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was like yeah, as long as the game went long enough, me being able to use Isola twice and he
Oh, nice.
not being able to use it at all, that was
It's
a
pretty
big point in
important.
my career. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that was nice because I ended up day one at 7-1-1. I think that's the best score I've ever had at the end of day one.
For any regional
This
or internationals?
internationals for sure, regionals. I ended up the regionals in the first regionals of the year in Germany. I ended up at 7-1-1 as well.
Okay.
Uh, uh, but then I did terribly in day two, so that's not a good thing. But yeah, I think that this year was the best I did.
Cool.
I actually ended up my best performance was ending up 801 at ECC 2014, but that was a long time ago.
Right.
Yeah, so that was day one. I was pretty satisfied. I had one tie against a good matchup. I tied against Weezing because I had an opponent. I couldn't find Ace Roller to get my Dina GX or Lele GX out. So but it was like a good matchup, and I lost against a matchup which I felt I could win. So I didn't feel like, oh my god, my metacal is terrible. I'm gonna lose everything in day two. I felt actually the deck team is good. I feel like I can beat everything. Of course, it's not total wins by any means, but I felt like I was feeling good.
Yeah.
Um, so and then day two, um, I played against Otávio Gouveia from Brazil in round 12. So we were at 8-1-2 at this point. It was actually the first opponent I played in the whole tournament, which wasn't from the US. Until then, I had played 11 people all from the US, which I guess is why people keep calling it nationals, if they only play against
Yeah.
Americans. Um, but yeah, Otávio is a good player. I think I faced him once before. He was playing Rishizard with the Jirachi variant, and he played Miltank. So in this matchup, like Miltank, they only have one healing card, which is Miltank. So as long as you can manage Miltank either with Alalan Merc, either because they full can't play down Miltank, or even just using Guzma to knock out Miltank. As long as you get rid of it, then you can do the Stinger plan where you hit Rishizard,
Right.
Stinger, and then win the game. Um, and yeah, I think like I won one game thanks to Alan Merck. Like I got early Alan Merck. He was a drawing because I mean he couldn't use Joshi or anything, and I think he scooped. I might be confusing with another game. And game two, I actually got very lucky because I used the senior play, but then he I didn't have Merc in play at point, and I'm pretty sure he used Miltank to heal at some point, so I had to attack twice before Stinger, and then he had time to, at the time, had time to build up another Rishizard, so
Okay.
I was facing a full damage, a full life, full health Rishizard with one with 120 damage on it on the bench, and I just used Stinger GX, and he let lose me, which was very good for me because my hand was terrible. But I still needed to find like an energy, Guzma to bring out the Rishizard, choice bands, and I believe I needed one more base Pokemon on the bench as well. So I needed all that in one turn. And I actually look at my four cards and I had like choice band, triple alteration, and Zorua. So I was like, wait, I just need Guzma. I have two Resurrection left. If I can find one, I can get Takulele and then find the Guzma or something like this.
Nice.
And I tried actually get Guzma, and so I'm like, well, that was pretty unlikely, but I'll take it.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh, so yeah, round 13 I was against Hunter Butler's Stunfisk Spiritomb
Hmm.
on stream again, which was weird because once again I had to play against an unfamiliar deck on stream, and also it was supposed to be a good matchup, but at that point the other matchup that I could have faced were like I was at 29 points, and there were two other players at 29 points, which were both playing Baby Stéfane, which was a matchup I was perfectly fine with. Like, I thought it
Dugong
was very,
is really good there.
yeah, Jugong, just like knockout, knockout, and so on. I mean, it's actually not, after playing a bit afterwards, I think it was not like as much as favorable as I assumed, but it's still pretty favorable.
Yeah.
So I think it would have been fine. But I got down paired to Hunter, who didn't want to face me.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, the game went his way anyway. Like he also played a 119 of French Crow, and game one he started Merc Row, drew and said pass, uh,
Wow.
and I was like, does he have? And I felt like he didn't have nothing. I felt like he had the French Crow in his hands, and I think he knew that I only plays special energy. So if he got the French Crow on turn two with nothing else on the bench, he would have won. He won. So I played Lily for five, I believe, and I didn't have a DCE, and I didn't have a way to get Disney GX to find more cards, so I just passed, and he just went Honchko GX energy, and then I played like two or three turns, but he didn't bench anything, so I just took to go to the next games,
Uh-huh.
and then we had two close games. Um, like this game is actually the one I have the most regrets about because I'm pretty sure I could have won. I'm pretty sure that game three it was weird because I had to navigate between not taking too long to play because I didn't want to get a warning or a penalty.
Right.
I didn't want to, but I had to figure out what was in his deck. At some point I saw a damage mover, so I was like, okay, he plays that, and then he plays two more, so I was like, what? He plays three damage mover. Uh, so I needed to. Yeah, I didn't know. I actually looking at his list, he plays four. Okay, so yeah, I actually didn't know what to expect. Exactly what he could do, how many extra powers he had, how many, what tech Pokemon, if any, he could have. I had heard he was playing Cartona GX, for example, so I was prepared for that. Um, but yeah, it was it was weird because and plus when you're streaming, you have the headset, so you have white noise and everything. It's hard to focus as much as you would do in a normal game. So, and I feel like some people told me some afterwards was they said, hey, didn't you have a choice button in hand? We couldn't see in your hand, but you didn't have it because otherwise you could have won with using Kuzma and
Mm.
using Dugong to attack the Hunch Crow with a choice button attached and not getting something on the bench. And thinking about it, I'm like, I actually think I had it. I'm not sure, but
Yeah.
it's possible that I had it. Or even if I didn't have it, I feel like if I played differently, I could have won, like not knocking out his Energy X because
Yeah.
I had a plan in mind, but then I changed my plan. But yeah, it was weird. But like, I feel like I should have won that, and I'm a bit
Yeah.
frustrated about this. But it's fine. Like he played well as well. He played what he played well, and I mean it's also credit to him, having such an unpredictable deck.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's also that's like typically the kind of situation where the effect of surprise, where not knowing what the hell he's playing, plays in his favor.
For
So
sure.
that was cool. And yeah, I guess in Top Cut, like my top eight match against Magnus Persson was pretty nice. I mean, I won game three because of a double price penalty on his part,
Hmm.
but I'm pretty proud of game two because I wasn't he was in the lead, and then I figured out that actually I could set up an XL GX, and if I evolved it, there was no way he was knocking it out. And so actually, even if it felt like he was in the lead, actually I was gonna win this 100%.
Hmm.
And I took a long time at some point because I was figuring out my plan, making sure that there was no loose end.
Right.
And um, but yeah, it was to the point that there was a turn where I didn't even use trade, and I don't think anyone noticed on the stream or anything. But I realized after my turn, I was like, wait, I didn't use trade, and then I was like, that's not even a misplay because I actually have the win next turn or the turn after that because he already had Machado out, so there was no way he was disrupting my hand, and I knew that with my hand
Wow.
I could win. Basically, the plan was deal 60 to Jirachi with Jugong, then use Tinker GX, then bring out Giratina um, to use to knock out the two. I mean, use Dissension Door to knock out the two Jirachi, and Righteous Baiting in the same turn. to take a knockout with Zorak, taking 3 prizes in one turn. And I even had it figured out where I had benched, because I needed one more Pokemon on the bench to attack, so I had benched Marshadow, but also I could remove Marshadow with its ability, so I could make space for Giratina, so it was pretty fun to. I was pretty glad of this thing. And yeah, obviously, like top 4 and top 2 were highlights, maybe not enough from a gameplay perspective, but just from a emotional perspective, winning the game 3 of top 4 when I had a double prize penalty, and it felt very good, I was very relieved, and the finals wasn't, I guess, objectively, it wasn't the best games to watch. Like, people told me, oh wait, it's already over, it's a bit disappointing, but I wasn't thinking about the quality of the match at that time. I was thinking about, wait, I actually won.
Right.
I won NAIC at the second time. So
it was pretty cool to see you and Emery play in the finals. Even if it wasn't the most interesting match.
It was very, very cool because he's a great guy. Like, he's very nice. He's very fun to be around. So he was he was so happy even after he lost. It was nice to see.
It's good people. So do you have any last minute shout outs or announcements or anything you want to make?
Shout out to Poke Beach for having me as a writer. I'm taking a short break for them right now, so if you don't see content from me this week or next week, it's because of that. But I will be back soon. We will have if you want to see what the kind of stuff I'm writing, my Zorak Dugong article, which I wrote the week before NASC, is available for free. There's no paywall on it, so you can check it out. If you want to read more of it, I'll be writing more of it soon enough. So there will be a couple articles before Worlds, and then hopefully more after that. As I mentioned, I offer coaching, including for people in different time zones. So if you want to know more, you can contact me through Twitter, Messenger, whatever. Send me an email, send me a Messenger page. This joke didn't work as well because I wasn't sure about the pronunciation, but it's fine. Anyway, you can contact me if you want to, and otherwise, shout out to whatever team wants to have me as a player next year.
I like it. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations again, and best wishes going forward.
Thank you very much.